WCLN 1170 Radio and Star Communications Channel 16 proudly present the We Should Know Show, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative. Now, here's your host, J.W. Simmons, as we consider closely what we should know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. J.W. Simmons here. The name of the show is We Should Know, producer and host of this show for a little over 10 years now. I want to thank you for being with us all this time and being part of the show and messaging us. And as we open the show, I want to tell you that we're talking about probably one of the most important shows that we're doing. It's about a subject that impacts everyone in this county and this state, over $100 billion industry. We're talking to folks about agriculture. And I'm going to start today with introducing Pat Russell. Pat, you are a master gardener here with the Corporate Extension Office. Your background is in healthcare, and you ended up with a passion for gardening, as you told me.
Yes.
And you're here today, and we're going to get into that. We've got a lot of other things and some other folks here I want to introduce, but thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Ann Butler, thank you for being with us. 7 years as a master gardener.
Yep.
The past 5 years, you've been president of the Master Gardeners. We'll get into how out of control that crowd is later, but I want to introduce you and tell folks you've got a background not only in healthcare, but in adult education as well.
That's true. True.
Thank you for being with us. Eileen Coit, I don't know. I think I'm ready to introduce you. Maybe you need to introduce me, but you've been on the show a number of times. You're well known for all of your work at Corporate Extension. You used to be the director of that organization, and now you're doing a lot of the educational pieces with Corporate Extension. I want to open the show today because all of you guys were there. I want to open it with a kind of reflection, which is something that just occurred. It was called Ag Day, and it happens every even year. So far, this is the second one that's been going on at the Expo Center. I was out there. Every one of you were there. It was tremendous. The prediction of rain and all those kinds of things, it just didn't hold up, but yet everything went on. It was like a mini state fair compressed, except every parking space was full. I'm going to start with you, Eileen. Reflect on it for a moment and tell us how you think it went.
Under the conditions that we thought we were facing, it was phenomenal. I just couldn't ask for it to have been any better, JW. So many people from the community came out, and we don't have a real good way of tracking how many people were there because it's free admission and there's multiple doors you can come through. So, right now, we're saying we think it might be around 2,000 people, but not real sure. What I do know is the parking lot was full. From what I understand, the overflow parking lot was full, and there was just traffic everywhere. And we're just so grateful that it turned out the way it did because we were scared about the weather and how that was going to impact things. And we did a lot. We modified a lot of it. We did a lot of last minute changes because of the weather predictions. And all in all, I really think that, everything came together just fine. And everyone seemed happy and having fun and learning about agriculture. And that was the whole point.
Absolutely. And I think when I look back and I just kind of remembering a lot of the things that was going on, everything from pony rides to mechanical bulls, even the Master Gardeners had a booth set up. And I'm going to segue with you on that because every time I went by that booth you guys had set up, there was people flogged up at the front and had full attention of Pat and others. But I'll start with you. What was your thoughts on the Ag Day?
I thought it was a phenomenal day, and I was so pleased to see parents bringing their children out to have them exposed to the importance of agriculture in this county because it is the economic driver. Mm-hmm. And the children seemed to enjoy it as much as the parents. With our booth, we had activities for the adults, plus we had activities for the children to get them engaged. And we had a constant flow of people all day long. and they had a lot of questions, and we enjoyed being able to provide feedback to them and materials. So I thought the Ag Day 2 years ago was great, but I thought this one topped it even more. It was a great experience.
I totally agree. Pat, I saw you a number of times when I went by that booth, and you were always engaged with somebody. I don't know whether it was planning or what, but you were definitely engaged.
Well, a lot of people stopped by. They wanted to find out what Master Gardeners was. Mm-hmm. And the children especially were enjoying the worm farm that we had there. And several of them wanted to dig a worm out and look at it. One little girl wanted to hold it in her hand. She likes worms, she said. But it was a great experience, and the booths all over the auditorium were they were so nicely laid out, and everything was so educational as I walked around and picked up some pamphlets and things. I really enjoyed it.
One of the things, Eileen, I noticed that we had the Dean of Ag from NC State there, Corey Fox, and also we had Steve Mathis from Mount Olive University, the Dean of Ag over there. And I thought, the educational part of it just kind of blended in with Corpus Extension, with what Master Gardeners do, because a lot of that is the education process. Is there something that stood out with you when you just look at it? Because I know you had like 3 different bands there. We really didn't mention that, but that was part of it, and it was unexpected because you had to move them inside.
That's right. We tried to blend and balance everything to where at the end of the day, the goal was, as we all said, to educate the public, particularly the non-farm public, mm-hmm. about agriculture. But when you do something like that, kind of like if you go to any county fair or state fair, mm-hmm. it's a similar blend of things. You've got to have mm-hmm. some entertainment. You got to have some good food. Mm-hmm. And then the activities. But at the end of the day, it's all about education. So we tried to incorporate it all as a way to make it fun and to get people there. But yes, as you said, we are the link between the county and our university, NC State, mm-hmm. who I work for. Mm-hmm. And of course, Cooperative Extension is linking the county with NC State and NC A&T State. Mm-hmm. But then we've got this tremendous resource just next door at the University of Mount Olive with just a phenomenal ag program and students coming through. So we were excited that they were able to join us. They had their mobile laboratory, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. and I didn't even get a chance to walk through it. There was just so much going on. Yeah. So I was thrilled that Dr. Mathis was there, Jason Davis with the leadership for their program. And there's a lot of partnerships, going on between NC State and the University of Mount Olive. So, but being able to bridge that gap and have the educational component along with all the fun, that's what it was all about.
Absolutely.
And I think when you think about food trucks and food, I saw everything from shaved ice to pork roast and you name it. I mean, it was like a food truck rodeo out there. Everywhere mm-hmm. you walked, there was somebody. And of course, you always end up seeing somebody and then you gotta, mm-hmm. You gotta engage for a few minutes. But the age group was just from, I'm going to say probably 3 to 5 years old up to 80, probably even higher. There's some people I saw there was probably Absolutely. 85, 86 years old, easy, going around, yeah. And it's just amazing. What do you think, looking back, kind of hindsight 2020, anything you would do different knowing what you know now? Obviously the weather thing, you might have modulated it a little bit, but as far as content is concerned. Y'all gonna get the same question.
Goodness. Well, as you know, we did some last minute changes because of the weather. There were several of the outside folks that we tightened up and we brought in, and we We did have a few booths that canceled because of the weather, understandably.
Sure.
We expected that to happen. But after doing that, we realized it really made the event better to have everything tightened up.
Yeah.
So, so we're looking to, we may use a similar floor plan, so to speak, on the inside the next time, and maybe try and incorporate some more activities on the outside that maybe have some shelter already figured in, and so that we don't have to pull things together and, do things at the drop of a hat.
About 30 seconds apiece here before we got to go to break and then come back. And I'll let you.
Being a former, educator, I would like to see the city schools and the county schools be more involved in that, for them to show what they are doing to promote agriculture and agribusiness with our young people. And I think that would be a really an important component to consider adding in the future.
Pat?
I think maybe if we could have had some animals on the outside, that the children would have really enjoyed those.
Yeah, something other than the ponies. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they had a rabbit inside, and I saw lots of children gravitating towards the rabbit.
Well, we could put a few pigs out there or something, couldn't we? Could we do that? I don't know. Maybe some
have
sheep.
pig races at
Some sheep. You could have brought chickens or something, or birds or poultry. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to kind of dig into master gardeners and what they mean. And Eileen, it's important for you to be here as well, because that is a huge educational piece for not only the community and the people that have gone through the training and been certified as master gardeners, but just helping folks understand, what should I order? What should I do if I go wherever to Lowe's or to buy something? How do I know I'm buying something that works, and who do I call? And I know you get a lot of calls because Extension is kind of the specialty referral program. So when we come back, subject's going to be master gardening. And as Pat, you said, why would I want to get in that, and what is it? And you were talking about the questions you get. So we'll come back from a break and we'll get in on that. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned with us. We're talking about master gardeners as the rest of the show and how you can get involved. And if you have questions, who to call. We'll be back in a moment.
Just because something may work doesn't mean it's right for your business. Let Star Communications' knowledgeable consultants help you customize a hosted voice system that's right for you. Our dedicated experts work with you to understand your business needs and guide you at every step, from choosing and installing services to ongoing maintenance and support. Contact Star today.
Eastern North Carolina is a beautiful place where we gladly choose to call home. And we strive to provide the best communications services. STAR is committed to improving communications to all our service areas, because we want to improve the communities where we not only work, but also live. STAR Communications. We are neighbors serving neighbors.
Experiencing slow internet? If you have a fast internet package, the problem is most likely your wireless router. With more devices using Wi-Fi, your wireless router may not be able to deliver the speed and coverage you need. We now have the leading solution to enhance your internet experience. Using small devices in a mesh network, these Wi-Fi appliances cover just about any size home, so that all your devices can operate to their fullest potential. Whole home Wi-Fi from Star Communications. Get the most out of your internet connection.
Welcome back, folks. We Should Know is on there. I'm J.W. Simmons, your host. We're talking with folks about agriculture today, particularly master gardens. We're talking about things related to that. Ann Butler is the president of that organization. And Pat Russell, you've been a part of that for some time. Eileen Coy, of course, with kind of the education piece that you kind of head up with Corporate Extension. When we come back, before we just step into that, I want to just pause for a moment and thank Robert Stroud on the Ag Day for being there and being part of what we were doing, and also allowing us to use part of his airtime to interview some people, and it just worked out wonderful.
It did. It did.
So with that said, Ann, I want to segue to you. Master gardeners, when I think about that, you've devoted, as I just mentioned earlier, like 7 years of your life into this.
Yeah.
First of all, what intrigued you with it, and what should folks out there know about master gardening with Corporate Extension?
Well, when I retired from the college, I had no idea what I was going to do, and I wanted something to give me a reason to get up every day. And I have found that through master gardening. I don't remember many sermons I ever heard, but I heard one. And the minister said that for people to feel fulfilled, you got to have 3 things in your life. You need something to do, something to love, and something to look forward to. Mm-hmm. And I have found all 3 of those components to be present with master gardening. I go out there and I have the fellowship of working with other people who are passionate about digging in the dirt and getting nasty and watching things grow like I do. I want to be a lifelong learner. And so it gives me something to look forward to, because no matter how many times I'm out there and doing something, I learn something every day. I either learn something about agriculture or growing, or I learn something about my coworkers that are out there with me who have gone through training. But it's a very enriching experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade it.
Pat, one of the things that interested me with you when we're talking off air is your background in healthcare. And yes. Ann just mentioned she's got a number of folks that work within master gardening that's got some pretty specialty backgrounds in healthcare, to include yes. medical doctors.
Yeah.
And I just I want to kind of segue to you. You mentioned to me that even though while you were in your career in healthcare, you had this passion for planting stuff and watching it grow.
Yes. My mother had a green thumb, so I guess I inherited it from her. But gardening, when I wasn't working, was a very good stress reliever for me. And I do love to watch things grow. I love flowers. Digging in the dirt, as Ann said, it's very relaxing, and it just helps me with my day-to-day life. Getting involved in master gardeners, when you retire, you need to stay active mm-hmm. and learning too. And that was one of my reasons for getting involved in master gardeners. Plus, I mean, you learn so many things. I kind of started gardening by trial and error, but you don't have to do that nowadays.
Save a lot of time if you become educated on the subject, and a lot of money too, because you might not have to plant that tree over 3 or 4 times before you discover it's not in the right soil. Is that what I'm hearing here?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. That's true. Right.
So tell us, and any one of you can respond to this. You've invested as master gardeners, you've invested a lot of time, and it's not without putting in your own finances to do this. This is not something that you're salaried to do. So is that passion strong enough to keep you in that? And what do you say to somebody that's maybe 20 or 30 or whatever it is, still working, but yet they still would like to learn more? Is there a space there for that person?
Sure. Anybody can come out, if they want to, and do some volunteer time. If they think they're interested at some point in becoming a master gardener, there's always the opportunity to go out and just observe and watch mm-hmm. us when we're out there on our work days. Granted, we've put a lot of time and a lot of money into it. When we signed up to become master gardeners, we go through a 60-hour training program mm-hmm. through North Carolina State. 60 hours in the classroom of right. handbook, education, hands-on education. And then once we we finish that training period, we have a comprehensive exam to become certified. And then after we become certified, then we spend another year as an intern that we have to put in 30 hours of volunteer work, 10 hours of horticulture education, and that's required of us every single year. We have to recertify.
Yes.
And so it's an investment for us. And we're all volunteers, absolutely. And we do it simply because we love it. A lot of us are healthcare people, and I think we spent so much time behind a desk and behind four walls when we were in our careers that all we want to do right now is be outside.
Pat,
enjoy it.
That kind of strikes me as I think about it, and as Ann was talking, it just kind of struck me that this is an additional investment of your time and your resources, and as she pointed out, the recertification program. I mean, you got to be at the top of your game to do what you guys are doing.
Just 2 weeks ago, myself and two other Master Gardeners went to a symposium over in Smithfield. And that was an all-day program. And it, besides the gas, the traveling, we each paid $45 for, to sign up to go to this. And there was two great speakers. One was a young lady from California that moved to North Carolina and decided to start gardening. And all of her speeches was about the mistakes she made and the things that she learned from it. And then we had a gentleman that talked about nothing but bulb planting. So both of them were very interesting.
And if I had to ask the question, it would be to kind of give us an idea of what you have seen, what you have been trained in under that huge umbrella of what is referred to as Master Gardeners. Because when I think about planting, my mind is as a old country boy that used to be out there back in the 50s and 60s and the early part of the 70s. I think about everything from watermelons to cantaloupes to tobacco and corn. But there's a huge part now that people look at as what they call their personal space. They want to enrich it, maybe patios or maybe that kind of thing. So kind of give us what areas you...
It's really interesting. For those of us who live in rural areas, we kind of look at the broader spectrum of our gardens and our landscaping and both vegetable gardening and flower gardening and controlling pests and making our environment just as green as possible. And we're finding in the urban areas that's quite different. They want their little space. And sometimes they don't even want grass. They want AstroTurf. So they don't have to go out and do a lot of maintenance, and they aren't as interested in the diversity of plants and gardening that we're interested in rural areas. And so that's become really apparent to me in the past couple of years when I've gone to meetings. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I want to know about all this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Eileen, do you see, like, as kind of an educator, do you see this as being something that is not necessarily a well-kept secret, but something the more people learn about, that they may discover that they might want to try. They might want to go out, if nothing else, and visit these guys while they're having one of their days out at the office planning or what have you?
Absolutely. I mean, the Master Gardeners are a tremendous resource for extension all over the state because, as you know, from this time on into the summer, I mean, that's when everyone's out there buzzing around trying to decide what they want to plant or what kind of problems they have and, maybe get ahead of the weeds or whatever it is, improve their lawn. And these ladies and gentlemen that are the Master Gardeners, I mean, they just extend our reach on being able to help people with what their problems are and what their, any kind of improvements they want to make to their yard and their garden area. And if they want to improve their health and wellness by eating more local fruits and vegetables and growing their own, I mean, there's only so many of us on the staff, and they just extend that reach so much for us.
One thing we do, JW, is we have a plant clinic that we offer, and people can call in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if they have a question about anything having to do with their home landscaping, they can leave us a question and we will respond to them. Sometimes if they've got a plant that's looking peaked and looks like it's going to croak, they'll take a picture of it, send it to us, ask us to help identify the disease and what they can do about it. Or they'll dig up a sample and bring it in, drop it by the office, and we will do the research, find out what the problem is, and respond to them. And we do that week in, week out, all year long.
You get a lot of calls like that?
This time of year, we're starting to get a lot of calls. We get calls this time of year about people want to test their soil to find out what kind of problems they may have with their soil that they need to work on before they do any planting. We have calls about moles and voles and fire ants. People in the fall want to know about their pecan trees. Why do my pecan trees have pecans have a black spot on them? And we respond to all kinds of calls.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to follow up on that moles and voles. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk about moles and voles.
Let's get out of here.
Protect what matters most in your life with security from Star Communications.
Honey, do we pay our bill?
What bill?
The Star Communications bill.
No worries, honey. With Star's paperless billing and automatic draft system, I get a notification sent right to my phone. There's no need to be bothered with those paper statements, and our bill is paid on time every month.
Well, that's easy and convenient.
It sure is, honey.
Honey?
Yes, dear.
The bake.
Oh, right.
Every year, 7 million 911 calls are made in North Carolina.
911, what's your emergency?
Will you answer the call? Every second counts. You can be that lifeline. People in crisis look to us for assistance. We provide guidance and support until physical help can arrive at the scene. Join us and make a difference in our community. Be the calm in the chaos. Be the voice in the dark. It's the hardest career you'll ever love. Will you answer the call? Discover more at it.nc.gov/911careers.
Welcome back, folks. The name of the show is We Should Know. J.W. Sim is your host. We're talking with a couple of folks here with the Master Gardeners, Ann Butler and Pat Russell. Guys, thank you again for being here. And Eileen, always a pleasure to have you in studio with us. We're talking, and we went to break. We kind of got into some of those things that are technical things involved with soil, with planting, and that kind of thing. And as we exited, Ann, you brought up things that I've heard a lot about, and some of those are just pests that we don't necessarily think that much about. But the more I'm hearing and the more I've seen in my own personal space is things called moles and voles. They're both underground creatures, but they have different intent. Explain a little bit about the moles and voles.
Voles are herbivores. They feed off of roots and the base of plants. So if you go outside and you see that you've got a shrub that looks like it's dying and you kind of give it a little jerk and the whole thing comes up.
And there's no roots?
There are no roots. And you sometimes can see the little gnaw marks down at the bottom. And so that means sometimes you've got voles out there. And what they have suggested is that you can put some kind, if you've got plant beds, can put some kind of border around the plant beds to keep the voles from getting in there. Then that helps. And also there's a suggestion that voles don't like grubbing through gravel. And so if you want to put rock around the base of your plants, then that can be a deterrent.
Small crush and run rock.
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then with moles, they're carnivores. They eat stuff. They eat living things like grubs. And we've had trouble in the past. We have a huge pecan tree, pecan, whatever. And
I'm going with pecan.
Okay, well, and we'd see the tunnels, And so I had learned years ago from my dad that a product called Milky Spore that you can put out, and it's in a granular form. And my dad used to put it out in grids. But I got a seed spreader and just did the entire acreage. And once the spores get in the ground, then they multiply and they kill the grubs. And so that can help keep your grubs out of your lawn. And then the moles don't have anything to eat. And
So they leave.
They go somewhere else.
Go to somebody else's yard.
Go to somebody else's yard.
So they go to Pat's yard. So Pat, what are you going to do? It's really a problem. It's kind of, we're laughing about it, but it's really a problem because you can really get infested with those things, and you walk out and all of a sudden you feel your foot go down, and then you look and there's this tunnel,
Yeah. You could use a herbicide type thing, but there's really no trapping or any. We can't kill them like, but you're going to have to learn to live with them.
Yeah.
They do aerate the soil, and they do eat the grubs and the insects. So, other than protecting your flower beds,
they're just trying to scratch out a living like we are.
Yeah.
I've actually talked with folks, and they said the moles, not the voles, but the moles got so bad that they decided to move.
Oh, really?
I mean, I can't even imagine. Can you imagine somebody saying, well, I'm just going to move because I just can't kill them?
Well, people said that with Japanese beetles. They would put these traps in their yard to catch Japanese beetles.
Yeah.
And it really didn't work. So you just take them over to your neighbor's yard and put the traps up and let them go over there.
Got to move it on down the road.
Sometimes that happens with fire ants too.
Yeah.
Put something out to get rid of them, and they might go to your
And we have a
neighbor.
lot of information out at the extension office about moles, voles, fire ants, a lot of those problems that people are having. And all that information is free. We're glad to either have it out at the desk for people to come by and pick up, or they can't, we'll mail it to them, whatever they want. But this time of year, and I wanted Pat to talk about it, in the springtime, one of the most important things people can do to get their garden, landscaping ready so they can have a lush atmosphere or environment later is to do some soil testing. And we get a lot of questions from people asking about how to test their soil.
Tell us about soil testing.
And I know when I first did a soil test, I thought, well, gosh, this is going to be complicated. But it really isn't. And from April through, I forgot.
About Thanksgiving.
November. Yeah. It's free to do a soil test. And you can go out to the agriculture center and pick up your kit. And the instructions are very easy to follow. You get a little box, and you're going to go around in different areas of your yard and get soil samples. You'll do front, back, sides, azalea bed, flower bed, whatever you want. You just sort of mix all that together in a bucket, and then you put it in the box and take it back. And in a few weeks, you'll get a statement back of what your problems are in your soil. The first one that I sent off, I needed lime and I needed a certain type of fertilizer. And I put them out, and my garden, my yard was much better after that. And you really ought to take a soil test every year.
So it changes the dynamic.
It can change the acidic part of the soil. Probably maybe storms or the amount of rain or the lack of rain. Different things like that have an effect on your soil.
And you can pick this box up at the extension office.
Yes.
Do you need a box per sample?
No. You mix all the soil samples that you get in your area, and you put it in one box.
Oh, okay. That makes it simpler.
And yes, it's not complicated at all.
I like simple.
No, and it really takes a lot of the guesswork.
Out of gardening.
It
Well,
does.
now, how does that also help you if you've seen like a beautiful plant that's maybe a tree or a shrub, and you think, God, that would look great. I want to set it right there. It might not be where it's going to grow. You might set it there and it's going to be there, but it's not going to grow there.
Yeah. I learned that a few years ago, was when we moved to our place out in the country. I thought, I want some cherry trees. So I went to one of the big box stores and found some cherry trees. Did not bother to read the label on the tree, because it will tell you what zone you can expect that plant to be able to grow in. We are in zone 8A.
Yeah.
So if I went and I bought a cherry tree that says it will grow well in zone 2, well, I have just wasted a bunch of money.
Because it's not going to grow.
Because it's not.
Yeah.
It may limp along. When I had my cherry trees, first year I had 1 cherry, second year I had 2 cherries. Third year, ripped that thing right up out of the ground. And I said, that's it. And that was my mistake. I did not read what the tag was. And so anybody who buys seeds or anybody who buys living plants of any kind really needs to take the time to read the label to find out what they've got to do to maximize the chances of that plant living.
Should we expect the labels that we see on plants at a lot of the larger vendors, should we expect to see that label on there that would tell us the zone? Is that something that horticulturists are requested to or expected to have on there?
Yes.
Because I mean, if not, you may be planting something that could be controversial to your lawn or to your garden or whatever. Might attract an insect you don't want.
Right.
That's true.
And unfortunately, some of these big stores, they may not really have the right product for the right zone.
That's right.
So when you go...
Because they might ship a tractor load in. And
Right.
Yeah.
Just may not be the exact right location for that product.
It's an educational process.
You also have to look at whether it will grow in the shade, how many hours of sunlight it needs. It's not just run downtown and buy a plant and put it out.
And so basically, Ann, what you just talked about is, I'm a very conservative guy. So it's like if you invest in some of these plants, you could easily invest hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on what you're going to do, very quickly. And then all of a sudden you discover wrong zone, wrong soil type, didn't get that done. And we're talking serious money being gone.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, even a blind hog gets an acorn once in a while, but if you could take the guesswork out of it and improve your odds, why not?
Spoken like a true country girl, what can I say? The thing that interests me in this conversation is hopefully there's folks out there that at the very least they might say, well, wait a minute, I just think I'll pick the phone up and dial 592-7161 maybe. And
he's got a great memory, doesn't he?
Hey, I'm
You're
showing
well
off.
trained.
So it's interesting though, because you got that resource there. You guys are there. Eileen's there. You got these people there. So folks probably could save themselves time, as you pointed out, money, the availability. In fact, you may be able to direct them to someone, if they don't even want to do this, that could help them with the actual process of setting things out and doing like a landscape template for whatever they're trying to create. And when we come back, I want to kind of, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I'd like to kind of get your input on the idea and importance of having a layout or a landscape template so you'll know where things go. And as we just talked about, this idea of what will fit here may be exactly where you want it, but Pat, it might not be the soil type to put it there. So when we come back, I want to touch on that before we get through today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. It's about plants and master gardeners.
providing fewer commutes, more backyard offices, and crystal clear meetings. Providing less, you froze up, and more presence in your presentations. Providing a better internet experience. Providing possible.
You're out for an evening on the town. Finally a chance to relax and forget that you left your front door completely unlocked. Fortunately, you just installed a security system from Star Communications. With just your cell phone, you can check on your house, lock it down, light it up, and get back to relaxing.
You forgot to put Buster in his crate.
Unfortunately, we can't help with that. Security and automation from Star Communications. Call today to find out more.
Welcome back, folks. J.W. Simmons here, your host. The name of the show is We Should Know. We're talking today with Pat Russell and Butler, both master gardeners. Ann is the president of that organization. 7 years, 5 years as president. And Eileen Coit, to my right, who is the education person at Corporate Extension. I'll give you a new title. I know you got another title, but I just kind of like that. So Eileen is known by a lot of folks around here. We've talked about a lot today. We've kind of reflected on Ag Day. We've gone through everything from moles to voles, and we've talked about the importance of planning and what master gardeners do and how you get involved. I want to kind of more, I guess, get into this idea of the planning process as it relates to planting and kind of steer that to the master gardeners over here and let you kind of fill us in on the critical part of that. Pat, you've talked to us about the whole soil aspect of having that tested. And you talked about a number of other things, but kind of wrap this around here for us. As we look at a piece of dirt we got somewhere, whether it's a 10 by 12 piece in your patio or whether it's a 2 acre piece that you happen to have in the front yard because your house is in the woods and the front yard used to be a field. Tell us how we should wrap our head around that. And maybe if nothing else, folks could learn what's the first step I need to take.
First step would be your soil sample. And then, and we have out there at the Agriculture Center a planting calendar for your vegetables, your fruits, shrubs, and trees. And that has a lot of information on it. It has the different regions. We're, as Ann said, in 8A, and that's represented by the turquoise color here, and this is like a 4-page, 5-page calendar. We can help you with learning when to prune what. We have information on pruning calendar for your yard or your garden. And we also, as master gardeners, we have a newsletter now. And you can sign up just to receive the newsletter. And it has a great deal of information in it too. And a lot of website addresses where you can go to get information. Most important thing that I've found with planting is that we need to plant native plants. It's very important that we don't let our native plants go extinct. We don't want to bring in these foreign things like kazoo that was brought in here and took over the world. The very pretty wisteria vine that you see in the woods and everywhere else where it has taken over. But we need to grow the things that are native, particularly for our bees, for our pollinators, butterflies, and they are the ones that do the best with the least amount of work, least amount of watering.
Ann?
You know, I agree completely with Pat about the importance of pollinators and using native plants. I've gone to the post office frequently to pick up birds that my husband and I get in. And I asked them, I said, do you get a lot of birds in? They said, no, but we get a lot of bees. And our farmers here are having to bring in bees because a lot of our native bees are dying because they don't have places to feed. And that's what these native pollinators like goldenrod and coneflowers and a number of plants that just grow around here naturally, they feed our bees, and they are extremely important to our farmers. Blueberries, for an example, extremely important pollinators. Dandelions. I used to go around and kill all the dandelions in my yard, but now I've learned that they are important pollinators, so I leave them and they'll eventually die out. Another thing that I think is really important with what we do as master gardeners is we partner as people want us to help them plan. We help with landscaping plans. We've worked with the college to try to do a landscaping plan for the new truck driver training area that includes a pollinator area to attract bees in. In fact, there are apiaries out there now with bees in them to try to get them in to that area so that they will have a place to feed. We've partnered with the city of Clinton to do the alleyway downtown, to put in, a lot of them are native plants and perennials that come back year after year that not only serve to beautify, but they serve a purpose. So it's a great partnership. Whenever we engage in something, it's a collaborative thing. People call us and say, would you come in and do a landscaping plan and do everything turnkey for us? And it's like, no, we can't do that. We can come in and help you plan, help you decide on plants, where they need to go, what they need. But you've got to have buy-in in this process also. And so it's just kind of a great partnership we've established with individuals and with businesses and organizations throughout the county. And we look forward to more opportunities to do that.
So if there's folks with small towns or what have you in the area, they could reach out to you and say, we're trying to fix this community park or something. Mm-hmm. You could go out and work with their folks that is looking at that and kind of give them some constructive advice.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's part of our mission. Mm-hmm.
Eileen, as kind of an educator with Extension, do you oftentimes have folks approach you and you kind of say, well, this is a good question for the master gardeners? I know you got a lot of very talented people and specialists out there. I think I've talked to quite a few of them, and they really know a lot about row crops and everything else, especially for big farming. But for a lot of things these guys do, it just seems to be that's a place where, again, we talked about a while ago, people spend a lot of money sometimes and then reflect and go, oh, I should have done that soil sample. Or I don't know, do I need to buy some bees? I mean, is that what you're hearing, or what are you?
Yes. And this time of year, there's so many different calls that come in. And so it's a tremendous resource for us to have the master gardeners right there in our office, available 3 days a week. And they, folks can call anytime they have a call. And we actually have a dedicated line that goes straight to their desk. Mm-hmm. And that message will be there whenever they're, at the office to serve. Their office is right next door to mine. So I hear them advising people all the time. And it's so nice, especially if you're somebody like me, that my background is more animals than it is plants. So knowing that they're there to help the folks with any of their lawn and garden questions is a tremendous resource for us. And we're very grateful. You guys
oftentimes get stuck with a question and you have to reach out to somebody to figure out what's going on and then get back to people, or is it normally something
Oh, it's not unusual for somebody to call in with a question and for us to say, give us your name, your number, let us research it, and we'll get back in touch with you quickly and be able to help them in that respect, because you can't know everything. And the questions are amazing. There, some guy called one day. He said, "There's fishing poles growing in my yard." I was like, fishing poles, and then it hit me, bamboo.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing. I mean, I used to see those up and down the road all the time. Those long bamboo poles, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And then I discovered, my gracious, you can't get rid of it.
Invasive.
Yeah, you never know what kind of questions you're going to get, and it's never boring.
Yeah, and the big question oftentimes that I hear from folks is, there somebody I can call to take care of this? And part of that was, he said, a Bartley pear or some kind of tree that flowers, and then all of a sudden everybody
Bradford pear.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it now is like,
and there's a bounty on them.
There's a bounty on them.
For them.
Yeah, bounty.
Yeah. Get rid of them.
Wow. It's because they spread and they're
very invasive.
And they tend to be very brittle, and they are susceptible to a lot of diseases. And they're just not hardy trees. And the North Carolina Forestry Service has actually replacing, if you get rid of your Bradford pears, they will replace what you get rid of with good trees.
but they won't plant it for you.
No.
They'll just give you the tree. You got to dig the hole and put it in the ground. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm
and
saying.
if you have questions, you call the master gardener.
That's right. Exactly right. And you send somebody with a shovel. No, I'm not saying. But that's one of the things that comes up. But that's pretty bold, because I still see a lot of those trees out. There were a huge number out at the college.
Yes, and
now they're gone.
You notice they're gone.
Yeah. And I think those are the kinds of things that questions that folks may have. They can call, again, 592-7161. That's 910. And they can ask that question. And if you're not there, they can leave the question with a callback number.
Absolutely.
You'll call them back.
Yes.
It's amazing. How many master gardeners do we have right now in the county?
We have about 30. And I would say probably about 23 of them are very active. We've got some who are older and can't get out and do some of the things. But everybody that's a master gardener has found a role doing something. We have some who are very artistic and have done some very creative things, like the angel wings we had in the alleyway during Christmas. And we've got some like Dr. John Smith, who is a real tree man, and Bob Smith, who used to be with the medical clinic, is really good as builders. And they have built bridges. They have built compost bins. They have built plant beds. They are really masters.
I want to thank each one of you for being here today. It's been an educational program, and that's what we try to do here. Look forward to having you back, and we'll remember that number, 910-592-7176. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week, and may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.